Hey guys, Jonathan here. Enlisted has a lot of weapons, I mean a lot of them. I mean, just look how many there is just for Normandy Axis. And this is excluding, of course, the Allies, Moscow, Berlin. There's a lot of weapons in this game, let's just say that. And because of that, everyone picks favourite, everyone's going to say Thompson, M2 Carbine, AVS, PPSH, MP43, STG. This one's kind of more looking at some of the weapons that fall by the wayside because they're just not as good, and kind of how I would improve them in a way. So I'm going to start with Normandy Axis. I'm going to do Normandy Axis, and basically I'm looking through what I think, basically all of the base unlocks. So this is not going to include any gold orders, so you're not going to see something like, say, I don't know, the MKB, for example, show up here. It's going to be, so I'm going to do pistols, rifles, assault weapons, and then heavy weapons. Kind of like that. And yeah, let us begin with the pistols and move my way on to heavy weapons. With pistols, I don't really have much to say. I mean, really, they're all just there. Walter PP is a good starting pistol. P38 and the Luger, they're both more powerful than the Walter PP. They're better handling, so they justify the cost. And the Mauser C96 has more ammo, and generally is a lot of fun to use. I think it has a better reload speed as well. So yeah, nothing to say about pistols here, really. Rifles, on the other hand, I've got two to talk about for this one. The first one is the Mannequin, and honestly, the problem with the Mannequin is it's not great, really. The problem with it is that it just has, it's just a worse version of the Kar 98K that you have to pay for. It's got no bayonet, so it's instantly worse than the Kar 98K. It's got, in my opinion, worse weapon handling, because it literally, when you fire it, it flings the camera to the left violently, so it really does put your shots off. And I'm not really a fan of it. The way I would probably improve, I don't really know how to improve it though, that's the problem. It's an early enough unlock to kind of just add flavour text to it. The only way I'd really improve it is make it so that it costs either bronze orders, or make it so that it's the free weapon, because the car just beats this in every way. And you might be saying, but what about the Maz? The Maz actually plays a lot differently. Yeah, the Maz has worse damage, but it's better in close range, it's got better sights, and it has a bayonet. Yeah, let's move on to the final one. There's really only one more to talk about other than that one. There's not really, the problem with the Mannequin is just, it's there, basically. It's just there. And there's no real advantage to it over the car. The car just has a lot more advantages to it. The final one is my old friend, the GDP Launcher. The weapon's so bad that even in real life, the Germans rejected it. The problem with the GDP Launcher is the same as the Mannequin. There's another weapon that does it better, that's cheaper. This one being the Submachine here. Now, the Submachine, it's 2 silver orders, but you kind of get why it's 2 silver orders. It has a grenade launcher on the top of it, and, it's a Kar 98K with a grenade launcher. You can't really hate it. The Submachine is actually pretty good. This one, on the other hand, isn't that good. The only benefit it has is it's a, air quote, anti-tank grenade. Yet, this thing struggles to kill anything. I don't think I've ever seen this kill a tank in my life. I've used it a few times, and I struggled to kill open-top vehicles. Yeah, this thing just sucks, to say the least. The only real way I can say for an improvement is, there's 2 ways. Reduce the cost to 2, and critically, make it so that this actually does damage to tanks. Even if it's not good against infantry, or as good against infantry, make it so that it's good against tanks. But then again, what do you expect? This thing was bad even in real life, so yeah, I can't really say anything else. Anyways, let's talk about the assault weapons. The assault weapons, generally for the Normandy Axis, are all really good, but there was 3 which really do stick out as outliers. Chief example is the FNAB, and to put it bluntly, this thing sucks, okay? Now, this thing is super polarizing. many people actually say, oh, it's really good, you just don't know how to use it. And then people actually are like, then you have people like me who know how to use it for what it's supposed to be used, and still say it's crap. This thing really does not do well as an SMG. It's got a low rate of fire, and yeah, it's good at range. I know, it's good at range. But you know what's also good at range? The MP40. Seriously, the MP40 is pretty much the exact same as this, only a better fire rate so you can use it in close quarters, and yeah, that's it. The only real benefit this thing has is its magazine size, and later in the campaign, it loses that to the Beretta, which is an even better SMG. The Beretta Model 38 is an even better SMG, which pretty much takes all of the benefits that the FNAB has, but makes it so that it can actually be used in close range without you getting bricked on by Stens and Lanchesters or Thompsons. Now, the main thing that I would say to improve this is to actually increase its damage. And the reason I would say that is it would make the damage, it'd make it usable, to say the least. Anyways, let's move on to the next weapon. Honestly, I really do like the Beretta Model 1918, and I think this is a very good submachine gun to pull out in a pinch. It's a pinch weapon, but the problem is the 2 silver order cost. When you think of a 2 silver order SMG, you think of something that's meant to be better than its prior options. The problem with this is that it's really more of a pinch SMG. I would say this thing, with the changes that I made with the FNAB that I suggested, I would say these two would actually be better suited switched. Give this as a 1 silver order pinch weapon, and then give the FNAB more damage and make it 2 silver orders. It wouldn't be perfect, but I would say it's a lot better than what we've got at the moment. The problem with this is this thing is the exact opposite to the FNAB. The FNAB pretty much struggles to get through its magazine. This thing, you go through the magazine too quickly. 25 rounds for 900 shots a minute is really not good. You will go through this magazine way too quickly, and it's not even a joke. You'll just go and go. You're done. It's great in close range, and I will say I have seen some people who will take the 2 slots just so they can use this and an actual SMG. So they would switch to this in close range and then use an actual SMG for the mid-range engagements. So it works like that, but in my opinion, it needs to be a 1 silver weapon, and yeah, that's about it really. Speaking of weapons that actually need to have their silvers reduced, I'm going to have to say the ZK-383. And the problem with the ZK is this thing is rammed in between 2 god tier SMGs. You've got the Beretta Model 38 unlocked like 3 levels later, and then 4 levels before, something like that, you get the MP35, which is much better than this. To put it bluntly, this thing is just put in between 2 better SMGs. And the way I would fix this is, again, making it 2 silver orders and making it where the Beretta, the M1918 is. Or, even better, just making this an LMG, and because this is what it actually is meant to be. I mean, it says here, light infantry machine gun. Make it like some kind of German version of the BAR, or Axis version of the BAR, and this thing could probably be quite good. Now, I will say though, the ZK-383 is a great SMG. It's just that you really shouldn't be bothered to buy these over the MP35, or even the MP40 at that matter. I know people who literally just buy MP40s and proclaim this. They literally will just get MP40s and will not buy anything else until they get either the MP43 or the STG-44. It's a pretty decent weapon, but I don't really like it's good, but I think it needs to have 2 silver orders rather than the 3 that it is. If this thing was a 2 silver order weapon, or even a machine gun, like replace it with the Braider, then I would say this thing is actually pretty good. Speaking of the Braider, we need to move on to the heavy weapons now. Oh boy, heavy weapons. Now, before we start, I'm not going to include the mortar or the flame stick here, this flame stick, because, I mean, let's face it, this one's actually cheap, and you do see people using the Flammenwerfer 35, or actually it's Furf under Deleisig? Yeah, Deleisig. And, of course, the Grandwerfer is a mortar, so mortars instantly suck. But yeah. Other than that, you know, there's only two weapons that I've really identified here as being kind of in need of a rebalance, or just something like that. The first one really does pain me, and it is the Sturm Pistol. Now, I will say one thing. I love the Sturm Pistol, and I still love the Sturm Pistol. It's one of my favourite weapons, and it is so funny getting kills on high-level vehicles, and everyone's like, oh, it's so bad, and then you get a kill on a high-level vehicle, you're like, sorry, what are you saying? The real problem I have with the Sturm Pistol is the reload time, and as soon as you get the Faust, you're never going to use it ever again. And I think that's sad, because the Sturm Pistol isn't too bad. The problem, I think it's good for the early game, but people are just going to use E-packs or explosive charges or anything like that over the Sturm Pistol. I think this thing would work well as kind of like if there was a mid-tier weapon alongside it, other than you have to wait a million years to get the Faust. People would probably remember it a lot better if that was the case. For the final weapon, we got this ugly monstrosity. Yeah, we're talking about the Braider again. I've made many so yeah, there's many complaints about this thing. It looks fug ugly, it's got shit ammo, and this thing plays like it's pretty much the opposite of what, you know, the Allies have at the time. The Allies get a kind of a hybrid between a run and gun and a line holding LMG with the Bren. This thing is definitely a line holding LMG, but it has the magazine size and pretty much the capabilities of a run and gun LMG. It's pretty much just a worse version of the Bren, only looks fucking ugly, even worse than the Bren. And this thing has worse handling. This thing generally hits the moon. You will hit the moon with this thing unless you're braced. And you might be saying, oh, but that's the same with most, you know, general purpose LMGs that you have to line hold with. That is completely false, for a start. I use every other line holder LMG, the MG34, 42, and 34 the drum, and the recoil is still better with those three than the Braider. To put it bluntly, I've said many times to never buy these and to just wait for the 34, okay? And that is just bad. I mean, with the 34, you can literally get it immediately in Berlin and just transfer it over to Normandy. And with this, you can do the same thing with Tunisia, but really, who's gonna be farming Axis Tunisia for the Braider Model 30? But yeah, this thing sucks, and generally, yeah, I would pick anything else over this. But yeah, that's really it, actually. The Braider Model 30 is the final one I've got written down here. But yeah, these are some weapons I think needs to be changed. I think with the Braider change, though, I haven't even said anything that needs changing. I think my change would be remove this completely and replace it with the ZK383. Make the ZK383 the LMG and just get rid of the Braider completely. There's my change. It would actually fix two problems here, actually. It would fix the ZK383 being overshadowed by every SMG, and it would make this thing obsolete, because even more obsolete than it is. Yeah, this thing sucks. Let's just say that. Anyways, I'm just going to end this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video.